Good morning. Today we are continuing doing those one-step operations, one-step equations. This time, instead of adding and subtracting, we're using multiplying and dividing. We know adding and subtracting are opposite of each other, multiplying and dividing are opposite of each other. We're going to follow the same logic that we did yesterday. What we do to one side of the equal sign, we do to the other side of the equal sign. So if we have 6n, what operation is happening there? If there's a number right in front of the variable, what have we talked about? What operation is that, Layla? It's multiplying. We don't put that multiplication symbol in there because we don't need to. We know that when the number is right in front of a letter, when the number is right in front of a parentheses, we just know it means to multiply. So we won't see the multiplication symbol, but we know that we are multiplying. So we have 6n equals 30. 6 times n. If we use logic, we would say something like 6 times what number equals 30? So 6 times what number equals our 30? Opposite operations, we would have to work it out just like we were doing yesterday. So if we have 6n equals 30, if this is multiplying, what's my opposite operation? Dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is what? It is not 0. It is a 1. So technically it's 1n equals, what's 30 divided by 6? What is it? 5. Why do you think we can take the 1 away and we can just call this n equals 5? Why can we take that 1 away? It equals the same thing. What we're saying here? 1n would be 1 times n. What's 1 times 5? 5. We don't have to multiply it by 1 because it equals the same. So when you see a variable with no number in front of it, what number do we know is there? The 1. We don't put a 1 in front of the n because we don't have to do 1 times 5. We know, though, as now we're starting to work with variables, if you see a variable with no number in front of it, we know that number is a 1. Okay? We don't write the 1, we just know it's there. Just like 6n, we don't write the multiplication sign, we just know that it's there. So we want to divide by itself, so we get 1. So we can erase that 1 and just say n equals 5. Then we look at the same fact families we were looking at yesterday. 6 times n equals 30. N times 6 equals 30. 30 divided by n equals 6. 30 divided by 6 equals n. Which one of these is the most helpful? 30 divided by 6. That tells us our answer, what n is. Okay. So we're doing the same ideas of what we were doing yesterday. No matter which method you use, you can check your answer just like yesterday, plugging in that value for the variable back into the original equation. And if your equation is true, then it's correct. So to check it, I would say 6 times 5 equals 30. So I'm going to do the math. 6 times 5 is 30 equals 30. Yep, 30 does equal 30. I did my math correct. So that's how we always go back to check our answer to make sure that it's correct. On the test, I truly want you to check your answer. Every year I have kids that go too fast. They go, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. And they forget to go back to check their answer, or they just look at it and they go, oh yeah, 6 times 5 is 35, done. But they don't stop to think, 6 times 5 is not 35. They did their math wrong. So that's your way of double checking that you're not doing your math wrong, okay? So let's look at on the bottom, we have to use all three methods from above, solve the variable in each equation. So using my logic, what would I write? Melanie.
8 times
8 times what number equals 56? Okay. So if I know my math facts, 8 times what is 56? Oh, I know the answer. Yeah. Right up here. Her head was hurting pretty bad. She had no. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I'm doing opposite operations, I have 8n equals 56. What is the operation that's happening in my equation? It's multiplying. 8n is 8 times n. So what's the opposite? Ava? Nope. I'm doing opposite operations for this one.
56 divided by 8.
So if I do 56 divided by 8, remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So if I divide this by 8, I have to divide this by 8. So I can see 8 divided by 8 is 1. So I know I can just do n, because 1n, I don't have to put the 1 in front of it. And then I say 56 divided by 8 is what? Madison?
Are we allowed to use a calculator on this?
Yes, but you have to show your work.
Yeah, I know.
So yes, you can use it to check your math facts. Claire? Yeah, and equals 7. 56 divided by 8 is 7. And then I could do my math facts. So I could say 8 times n equals 56. N times 8 equals 56. 56 divided by n equals 8. 56 divided by 8 equals n. So that's writing out all three methods. Then I have to go back and I have to check my answer. So I'm going to take that n equals 7, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to say 8 times, let me move it up a little. 8 times 7 equals 56. So then I have 8 times 7, and 8 times 7 really truly is 56. So I'm going to want to check that on my calculator. Is 8 times 7 56? Did I do my math correctly? That's how you check it. Actually put it into your calculator. 8 times 7. Sometimes if we just rely on our math facts that we have memorized, we memorize the wrong fact, right? We're messing it up. So when you check your answer, actually use the calculator to check it. 8 times 7, oh yeah, that is 56. Melanie.
I don't get why do we do 8 divided by 8 and then we get a 1, but the 1 doesn't help us?
Well, can we say 8n equals 7? We want to get the n by itself. So a variable by itself is 1 times that variable. So we want to, just like when we were subtracting out, if it was 8 plus n, then we subtracted 8, so we got a 0. We got the n by itself. So this time when we're multiplying or dividing, instead of going down to that 0, like adding and subtracting, we're getting it down to 1n. So we know that the n is by itself. So then we know n truly does equal 7 because there's nothing else around it. Does that make a little more sense?
Yeah.
All right. Our next one says n divided by 8 equals 4. Because remember that fraction bar, I should have read it as n over 8 equals 4. we need to know that the fraction bar means divide. Okay, so if we are dividing, what's our logic that we would ask? What's the logic question? We'll start with that. So here we said 8 times what number equals 56? What do you think our logic question would be for this one? Huh? What number divided by 8 equals 4? So if I'm going to do this with my opposite operations, I have n divided by 8 equals 4. What's my opposite operation I'm going to do? Amanda. Yeah, I'm going to multiply it by 8, both sides. So what that gets me, 8 times n is 8n divided by 8 equals 4 times 8 is 32. What is 8 divided by 8? Like we saw over here, 8 divided by 8 gets me that 1. So n equals 32. So if we're dividing by 8, we want to multiply by 8. Just like if we were adding 8, we subtracted 8. If we divide by 8, we multiply by 8, and they cancel out. Okay? So if we had multiplied by 8, it means 8 times n. So if it's over 8, those 8's, 8 divided by 8 gets me down to my 1. So I have n equals 32. Now I need my fact families. And I have n divided by 8 equals 4. N divided by 4 equals 8. 8 times 4 equals n. 4 times 8 equals n. And we can see 8 times 4, yep, that is 32. I'm going to go back and I'm going to plug it in. And I'm going to say 32 divided by 8 equals 4. 32 divided by 8 would be 4 equals 4. So that is a true equation. 4 does equal 4. Let's do one more together. I have 7n equals 63. What would be my logic question? I know more than 3 of us know what the question is. What do you think, Hannah Mae? 7 times what number equals 63? Then I need to do my opposite operations. So I have 7n equals 63. What is the opposite operation? Well, first, what is the operation happening? If it's 7n equals 63, what operation is that? Madison.
63 divided by 7.
You're jumping ahead. If I have 7n, what operation is that?
Multiplication.
That's multiplication. So I need to do the opposite, which you just told us was dividing. So I need to divide both sides by my 7 because I want n by itself. I want to know what n equals. So that's why we divide it by the 7 so we can get n alone. 7 divided by 7 is that 1n. Don't have to write a 1. We just know it's there. So n equals, what is 63 divided by 7? Liam? 9. Then I have my fact families. I go back and say 7 times n equals 63. N times 7 equals 63. 63 divided by n equals 7. 63 divided by 7 equals n. And I can say, oh, yep, I see 63 divided by 7 equals Emma. 63 divided by 7. I can do that math easy. Right? I can plug it into my calculator. I know my math facts. 63 divided by 7 is 9. I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it into my equation and say 7 times 9 equals 63. I'm going to put it in my calculator. 7 times 9, I get a 63 equals 63. That is true. 63 does equal 63. Any more questions on why we're doing certain things, how we do it? It is important to remember that what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other because we want to balance out both our sides. So in order to stay balanced, you have to do it to both sides. If we were to just move a number over to the other side, it's not going to be balanced and it won't equal itself. So we have to make sure we keep balancing out both sides. On our second page, you get to choose the method, but you do have to show your work. So I don't want us to say, well, I'm using logic and I know that if this is multiplying, then I'm dividing. You need to write out the logic question. So if you're going to use logic, write the question out so I know what method you're using. I do not want to just see an answer. I want to know how you got that answer. So you use logic, you use the fact family, or you did your opposite operations. Write out which way you're doing it, and then write the answer. Jimena.
Would you just write down the question?
5 times what number equals 20? Write the question down,
And
then you can put it, because you might know it. So yeah, write it down. If you're using the logic, write the question, and then say, oh, I know 4 times 5 equals 20, so the answer is 4. Okay? So you could do the opposite operations, get that extra practice with opposite operations, but it does say you can use whichever method you want, but you have to clue me in. I don't want to just see an answer. Tell me which method you're using. If it's the logic, write the question out. And then at the bottom, again, we have using that variable with a value of 8. So do a multiplication and division, do another multiplication and division. Your variable has to equal 8. So figure out a problem. You could say 8 times 5 equals 40. And then, oh, I'm going to take that 8 out, and I'm going to put a number times 5 equals 40. Okay? So figure out your equation using multiplication and division with the 8, but you have to take that 8 out and put a variable in for it. Any questions? If you are watching this elsewhere, we hope you are well. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.